Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Namaste Center. It's Sunday morning before Thanksgiving 2012, and it's wonderful to be here in this great energy today. We've been blessed with wonderful music, lots of love around us, and day is off to a good start. So I wanted to talk about a few things today, mainly that which is where do we go from here? You know, the election's kind of, well, it's not kind of, it's over. And yes, it's over. And so that's a relief that we don't have to get those phone calls. I don't know about you guys, but we were getting calls all the time. And then the television commercials and just the talking heads on TV. Of course, they're still talking. They're just talking about other things, why they didn't win or whatever, but that's another story. But besides the point, I really am so, the theme of already today is, you know, we're stepping into this time of sacred change. And what does that mean? And it's just a few weeks away, as by the calendar. We're already well into the process, but December 21st, 2012 signifies a great time of change, not only for our planet Earth, but for our entire universe. So this is a time, they say, that souls have just begged and clamored to be here on this planet to experience this sacred shift. And I feel it. I'm so grateful. When people ask me how you are, I say I'm great. And not to say that everything in my life is going perfect by my judgment, but I'm great, and I feel that this is things are being lifted and moved and shifted. You all feel that? Yeah. It's time to really let go of the struggle and the strife and the pain and the suffering, and step into this power. So where do we go? I mean, as I mentioned earlier, if you do turn on the news at all, I know it's amazing to me when people say we don't have a TV. I'm like, really? I haven't gotten to that point yet. I was talking to someone the other day, well, we don't have a TV, the Gallenbergers. I was like, whoa, that's cool. So how do you watch Pawn Stars? I mean, you know, where do you see that? Do they stream that online? I mean, that's my favorite show, by the way. Anyone in here watch that, by the way? It's a great, yeah, Bill, all right, yeah, Jake. It's a great show. It's great. Chumley is my buddy. So anyway, I digress, but I do come back. And back to the election, Barbara Bush, of all people, I have to give her credit for this wonderful statement that she made just a few days ago. And she says, I'm tired now of the elections. Bush had endorsed Republican Mitt Romney, and she said, quite simply, the people spoke, move on, get on with it. I want to do other things and not be ugly. And you know, it's so true. Get on with it. It's interesting because I flip through on the radio. I like talk radio, and of course noon to 3 on WHKP here. Who's on? Rush. Rush, okay. Rush Limbaugh's on, and I listen to him. Great entertainment. And he's amazing because it's, and I use him I see him as a brother in Christ, and I do love him. He doesn't get me all worked up. Some people just get so worked up. But it's interesting to see his choice to just give 1,050 reasons why Romney didn't win, and all the evil doing that our administration's doing. And I'm like, where does this come from? For me, it's not something that has a negative effect on me. It's just like, wow, there's still people out there that think about it. Mm-hmm. You know, we've got this beautiful group of beings here who are supportive and loving and choose to be in the light and love, and there are still people in that fear and in that story. And you know, I always say the news and things of that nature are a great opportunity to be a prayer ministry. Just send love and blessing, rather than letting it get you all upset. If it does get you upset, I wouldn't say turn it on. But if you're able to listen to it from a neutral perspective and just send love, I think you could offer a great gift. And you know, right now the big deal is the fiscal cliff. Sounds scary, doesn't it? The fiscal cliff. And by the end of the year, you know, whatever, you know, they're talking about that, trying to put fear in us. And then, of course, one thing that is I'm sure, a true challenge for so many people in the Middle East is the pending war. It's already started, but if it goes on further. And with Israel and Gaza, it's really amazing. I saw this image someone had posted of this little girl, and it was horrific. She had the top of her head blown off, and but she was still lucid and awake, and they're taking her picture, and she's doing this, and it's you know, that makes it real. And yes, we're in this is an illusion, and it's not reality. I believe that with every cell of my being. And also there are people in our world that are still hurting and suffering and in pain. And so how can we be of greatest service in that respect? And right now, I was speaking to Deb earlier, and she had mentioned that HeartMath has put out a plea for the Middle East, just to send all the love from our heart to the Middle East, and you know, be that change. It's something we hear often, but be the change we choose to see in the world, rather than looking at Ain't It Awful and telling that story over and over, and because that's doing nothing more than feeding it and making that more real. So we have to step in, you know, through this shift. I really believe what this is all about. And as Mary reminded us, it's not about necessarily the end of the world, you know, and the world's destruction, but it's translation into heaven. It's literally where we see it for the truth of what it is and its beauty. But it's a movie, and it's a movie that if we're not careful and mindful, that we can stick our claws into pretty quickly and deeply. And so the greatest gift we can offer is to send that love. And of course, one thing that really saddened millions of people on the planet this month or this week was they've stopped making Twinkies. And so that was really, there's people carrying them out in coffins and things, you know. It's like and I heard on eBay, like, they're selling for ridiculous amounts of money. Well, if you'd stocked up on your Twinkies, I can't remember the last time I had a Twinkie, but if you did stock up on your Twinkies, they do apparently last through a nuclear holocaust or anything. So you're safe if you've got them; they'll last for eternity. There's nothing that can kill a Twinkie. So hopefully that you all, if you're into Twinkies, you got it. But you know, we got to make light and laugh. That's out there in the media, certainly in a big way. The end of Twinkies. I thought they ended a long time ago myself, but what do I know? So as we hear over and over, and this is a statement or a quote from Einstein, that we can't solve the problems of today with the mind that created them, and we go into this cycle, and so often we'll hear people of knowledge, people in authority, that say, well, you got to just keep on looking at how history repeats itself. And that's when I want to say yes, because we continue to say that over and over, and we continue to go into that belief, and yes, it is, because it's all about our consciousness. So if I believe that history is going to continue to repeat itself, it will. And then we can, so many people doing our strategies on the planet today base their strategies on history. So they're reinforcing that pretty strong. So as light workers and as choosing to come from a higher perspective, it's time for us to step back and be present and release those past histories or those stories of the past, and create from love in this moment and move forward from that place. And it's possible. And it doesn't take a lot of people to do it. It doesn't even matter if it's just us doing it on the planet, which I know there's millions more, but it all starts with me. You know, let there be peace on earth and let it begin with me is the message of the day here. Truly, it's more than a catchy tune and a song. It's the facts, and it's the reality of what's happening right now. So it's really up to us. We are the peacekeepers if we choose to be. And blessed be the peacekeepers, for they shall be called the children of God. And that's what we are. When we know that, we know our divine birthright as beings of light and love. Well, have you all ever heard of Eric Pearl?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a wonderful healer. He's been around maybe 20 years, I think, is about. Well, he's been around obviously longer than that, but he really was about 20 years ago. He had a metaphysical experience that was beyond the body, beyond his thinking mind, beyond his skills that he learned as a chiropractor. And he brought in this healing technique that is, he's able to literally instantly heal people just through this energy. And he was on our radio show this week, and if you choose, you can go listen on the archives. He's very wonderful. And but anyway, he talks a lot about everything that we talk about here. And this, he goes on to say, I'm just going to read a few of his statements. He calls this the reconnection or reconnective healing. And he said it's not just energy healing, but instead a more comprehensive spectrum of healing composed of energy, light, and information. Anyone can learn to access these energies once you interact with them. It's not something we do, but something we allow and help facilitate. It works by itself, as well as greatly expands the results of modalities that today's healings and healthcare practitioners are already using. It reconnects people to their original fullness as human beings and restores them to a more complete connection with the universe. It's more than a modality. It's demonstrated itself to be its own genre of healing, with its own means, method, manner, and approach. Its own form of conveyance and transmission is its own delivery system. And its intelligence, mechanisms, and consistently reproduce forms of expression in the human body. And it's, he goes on to say, which is so much in line with what we're learning and what the mass consciousness in the metaphysical world is telling us. It says after 15 years of practicing the reconnective healing, he recognizes from thousands of classes that it's astonishingly effective with virtually any known health challenge. But he's not, this is the good one here, he's not certain why or even how it works. What is important though is it works. And if we don't, we may never know why or how, but it's just that faith and that confidence that it will work. And he has had these spontaneous, miraculous healings through this energy. And what it is tapping into the oneness and the energy of God or light, love, whatever you choose and feel comfortable to call it. Well, I've mentioned on the radio show about A Course in Miracles and its perspective on healing. He said it's very much exactly what the Course is saying. And very recently, a group of us in our Monday night group, we just finished the psychotherapy practice of the Course in Miracles. It's a little pamphlet, and it was very beneficial and helpful and empowering to the group. And what it says is that the whole idea of psychotherapy in the past is you come to your therapist who has diplomas and knowledge and all of these wonderful resources, and you go to the therapist and you tell them your stuff, and then in the past it turns into a recycling and a naming and identifying of this issue and that issue and what have you. So that issue has kept it more alive. Well, what the new paradigm for healing is we can only give what we have. We can only heal by being healed ourselves. And it talks about this mutual exchange between client and healer. That actually it's a healing of both, because there's only one of us here. So all the healer is choosing to do is hold that space, and through that, both are healed through that. And what he says here is one of the most exciting benefits of reconnective healing, is that they don't only heal the person on the table, but heals the practitioner in the process. So what that tells us is that, it's all healing is circular. It works together. So as I heal you, you heal me, there's only one of us here. And as we can do that and be the change we want to see, we're going to really step into this new fifth dimension, this new paradigm of healing. It's already here, truly. The Course goes on to say that psychotherapy is the only form of therapy there is, and it says, since only the mind can be sick, only the mind can heal. And only the mind is in need of healing. This does not appear to be the case, for the manifestations of this world seem very real indeed. Psychotherapy is necessary so that an individual can begin to question their reality. So it brings it all back to, what's my reality out here look like? Is it one of gloom and doom and strife and struggle, or is it one of knowing that only love is real? And yes, I go back to the little girl, and that's a traumatic image. And I can certainly be compassionate and loving and understand that life isn't so comfortable and peaceful for her right now. But for me to join her in her suffering would be a great disservice. It would be the greatest gift if each of us could see those images and just join at a heart level. And at some level, the fact that she can do this, who's really being healed anyway? And she's the one really doing the healing and offering it to us. So you never know where the healing comes from. Sometimes it's the media likes to put the gruesome, dark images out there to get us all revved up and upset. But we don't have to participate in that cycle of fear. And it goes back to all our view of self. The Christian Science teachings, the science of mind teachings that were created in the likeness and image of God. If I view myself as a body, then I'm viewing myself as limited. I'm viewing myself as being capable of being sick, being upset, angry, whatever, or destitute or wealthy, whatever it is. But if I view myself as an extension of God, then everything is going to reflect in my world from that premise and that reality. And that is the reality. So we really have to change. I believe true psychotherapy is stepping in and changing our view of self, who we think we are. That we get pretty immersed in those self-identities. And we talked a little bit ago, or a little bit earlier, about how we value the intellect, how we value all of these diplomas and all of the education and so on and so forth. And although, yes, those can be helpful and very wonderful through the process of awakening, if we value that above the power within us, which exceedingly is so much greater than anything that has to offer. That could be a means to getting there, but that's just a little tip of the iceberg. And what we need to do is to know that within us, that power of Christ consciousness that lives and is all of us, that's the power that is going to manifest to bring healing and awakening to our world. And this is a quote by a Huang Po. I assume he is Chinese. And he goes on to say, those who seek truth by means of intellect and learning only get further and further away from it. Not till your thoughts cease their branching from here to there, not till you abandon all thoughts of seeking for something, and not till your mind is motionless as wood or stone, will you be on the right road to the gate. And that's pretty scary, because how much has it been reinforced that the intellect and knowledge is where our power lies. Well, this Dr. Pearl, he was expressing that, we become, our greatest role as healers, if someone comes to us, is to be that presence. And we don't need the essential oils, we don't need the stuff, and because that's not where it is. But it doesn't mean that we have to abandon that, but that we're choosing to move forward and open up to that place that truly there's no need for anything outside of ourselves. And if I could be that presence of knowing who I am, then that's the greatest gift that I can bring to anyone, anywhere. So it's something to think about as far as what we value. The Course in Miracles goes on to say we value the valueless. Those things have no meaning except for what we give them. And it can be helpful, they can be useful, but they can also be a means of pulling us further off course if we're not paying attention. What's my real goal? What's my intention when I tune in and plug into this modality or this type of healing? And if my intention is to raise the consciousness, then continue to do it. But if it's to continue to stay locked into that belief, you may want to look again at that and see how maybe you could have a shift in perception or a miracle from that. And, we go into this week, we're heading into Thanksgiving week, which is, a very sacred time. It's more than the turkeys and the trimmings and all of that, although that's fun too. But it really is a reminder of the gratitude and all the things that we have to be blessed, that we know have blessed us and that we need to be grateful for. And we are so blessed, and never to forget that. And I'll give you a little, every time something happens, I've just noticed lately that I've been in this gratitude mode of saying thank you for everything. And not long ago, I'll tell a little story on myself. I went to Cherokee, and there's a machine there, and I played just 30 cents on it, and that's like not very much. And so I was like, I don't want to give them any more of my money. I don't, I want to stay on this end of it. And so I'm very greedy with my money. So I said, okay, I'm going to do 30 cents. So anyway, I played on $20 for 3.5 hours, which was a lot. But what I was doing, and the reason I'm even saying this is not to tell you everyone to go to Cherokee, but it's really that every time there was even a 5-cent win, I would say thank you. And there's this one little wheel that spins, and you can win up to 50,000, and 100 is the lowest. And so people on left and right of me, they're like, come on, 50,000, 50,000, and then it'd be 100, and they go, darn it, and if I'd get 100, I'd say, thank you. And so it really is, be grateful for everything. And I use that not only there, but I notice that when I'm grateful for whatever is happening, if it's a meal, if it's a glance by a friend, I just notice that lately I've gotten a lot of really feel-good energy just by saying thank you to everything and being grateful. So as we move into Thanksgiving, I invite you to consider the attitude of gratitude, because if we can be grateful for everything, even if it doesn't seem like a gift, it really is, because we're reminded everything is for our best interest. And when we realize that there is nothing by chance, and everything is playing its role in our awakening, then when we focus on the gratitude, we get out of the story of the past. We stay in the present moment. We're able to come from a much clearer perspective, both in our minds and energetically in our bodies. And that's what's going to bring forth this real shift from fear to love. And so where do we go from here? I know that the next couple of weeks, let's set this baby up on 12/21 in the best way possible. I know you guys are already doing the major work, but let's take it to an even deeper level, because the best is yet to come, and I know that to be a fact. Just know it. And so it is. Namaste.
Namaste.